Why did I have to give birth to such an ugly-looking daughter? Just the sight of your face alone causes me to want to vomit. When your older sister is considered one of the most beautiful women in this city, seeing your disgusting face every day makes me feel so sorry for myself and you.
Say things like that all you want, but I wasn't born into this world wanting this kind of a face. So could you please just stop saying things like that about me now? Can't you tell that it's all hurting me to hear that?
What was that? Are you saying that I'm in the wrong for saying such things? So after all I ever did raising you to become the woman you are, you don't seem to understand your appreciation for me. If you're saying things like that to me now, then I should have never taken such care of an ugly child like you. Now I really do feel sorry for myself.
Say what you want to.
Anyway, you are about to graduate from middle school very soon here, but someone as ugly as yourself doesn't have the value to move on to high school or anything like that. I'm going to send you away to go and work on a farm out in the middle of nowhere, and there you can make me back the money I had wasted on you all these years.
What? Are you serious about that?
Well, of course I'm serious about this. I want you to take another good look at yourself in the mirror right now. Just be happy that with a face like that, there is a farm that is willing to take a child like you to work, and then with that, you will no longer be a part of this family. So don't you ever come around to any one of us ever again with that ugly face of yours.
No way. How dare you do that to me?
Shut your mouth and get ready to go.
So what you're saying is that I'll be working on that farm forever then? I'm going to become the daughter of some farmer out there pretty much? In other words, I'm just a useless child to you or something?
Ah, for someone as ugly as you need to stop it with all of those damn questions. I already made my feelings very clear to you. You really have such a hard time understanding context, don't you? The only way someone who can't study well and can't play sports will ever survive is by making money doing the worst jobs ever. So you go to that farm and you stay there for the rest of your life working in the mud, since that's the only thing good for you.
I see. All right, Mom. I'll try my best there.
And just remember to send me all of the money you make every month as a way of saying thanks to me for giving birth to and raising you.
You want all of my income then? But if you take all of my money, then how will I be able to support myself?
You think I give a damn about how you live? Oh, you are no longer my child anymore, so go ask someone else. And as for most of your things, I've already packed them in some trash bags and tossed them out of the house and into the front yard. If you want to take them all with you, go out, pick them all up before you leave this house.
You can't be serious. You're telling me that you just tossed everything outside? You can't seriously be doing all of this to me.
You will no longer have to come back to this house ever again, starting today. Also, in another hour, that farmer I was telling you you'd be working for will be here to pick you up and take you away. I had to make sure all your things were packed up in time for that. Now you hurry up and get yourself ready to go, because if you miss your chance, you'll be living on the streets instead. And just know that if the farmer says one day that he no longer needs you, you won't be welcome back into this house.
How can you do all of this so suddenly? I haven't even had a chance to say goodbye to all of my friends. You're so mean.
How am I mean when I went out of my way finding a place that would be willing to hire a high school dropout like you and house you? I would like it if you started to thank me for all of that right now. Now, there is not another thing that I have to talk with you about. So get yourself ready to work your ugly ass off at that farm forever. And if you choose not to do that, or the farmer doesn't want you anymore, you'll be on the streets for the rest of your life living in poverty. And I will not give one crap about you then either.
I understand that now. Then, this really does mean that you and I are no longer mother and daughter? And I'm going to become the daughter of that farmer when he comes here to get me, right?
That's what I've been saying to you this whole time. I'm not going to continue repeating myself to you like this again and again.
All right, Mom. Thank you for everything you've done until now.
I was kind of wondering why you had never come back to the house. But then I was told that you'd been sold off by Mom to some farmer. I'm laughing my butt off right now for that. I'm laughing so hard right now that my abs are starting to really hurt even. I see. I can't believe this happened. It must be so tough being that ugly.
Madeline, you're only realizing that I've been gone now? I've been away from home for weeks now, and it took you this long to notice?
Well, come on now. It's not like I ever cared about an ugly girl like you around here. To be frank, I always wondered why you hadn't just killed yourself yet when there's no reason for someone like you to still be alive. I started to realize these past few weeks that things at home had become so much better for the rest of us. I went and asked Mom why that was, and when I asked her, she told me it's probably because the ugly gremlin is no longer with us. That's right, she was right on the money about that.
I see. I'm so happy that you both are doing much better now without me. Now, are you just taking the time to text me now because you want to show me how much you've hated me? Or is it because the one person you could take all of your anger out on is no longer living with you anymore, so you've had to resort to making fun of them over text? Is that why you're wasting my time right now?
Well, that's also part of the reason why. It really does kind of suck that I'll no longer be able to use you as my punching bag anymore, though. But you know what? I was a lot more stressed having you living in the same house as me because I couldn't stand the fact that I had to be around someone so ugly. So not having you around anymore is a whole lot better for me. If anything, I feel so relaxed now that I don't even need a punching bag anymore.
Is that so?
By the way, have you still not been paid yet? I hear that there's still been no money coming from you yet. And that's starting to make Mom a little bit upset because she's really looking forward to it.
Have I been paid yet? I've only been working a couple of weeks here. And I was told by my boss that there's no need for me to send any of the money home to you guys, so you won't be seeing any in her bank account.
I hear what you're saying, but I also heard what Mom said. She said to me that the boss had said to her before that she was able to make the deal to send you over there. He said that he'd be willing to take you and put you to work, and Mom told him to make sure not to pay you a lot as a way of punishing you for being so ugly. Remember that the farmer pretty much bought you for $100 from Mom, right? He said he normally would never do that for anyone, but considering how much Mom begged him to take you away and put you to work, he was able to put a price on your head.
Right, I heard a little bit about all of that. And just like Mom had asked of my boss, he's not paying me much of anything at all, which means you guys won't be getting any money from me. I even told the boss about how Mom was still expecting me to send him money, which he got upset about because she already told him not to pay me. He then tried to get in touch with Mom about it, but she told him the same thing she said before to him about not having to pay me.
But you see, you still need to be paid a little and send that to us because of the money that Mom and Dad wasted on raising you, right? That's why Mom is a bit confused as to why you haven't sent her anything yet.
But then, why doesn't she tell the boss to pay me like everyone else in his farm instead of telling two different stories? Also, in the past, it was always you that Mom would pay for and never ever me. The only things I ever got were hand-me-downs from you and Mom, and whenever I did need something badly, I had to ask friends for them. My past was really tough with all of you because of that. Of course I was never going to complain though, since I was the one still being cared for by Mom and Dad.
Well, of course you never complained, because it was Mom and Dad who were letting you live. But you were still being fed with food they spent money on, so you'd better be thankful for that and ready to pay Mom back.
But remember, I was never loved by Mom. She really wanted to have a son, but instead gave birth to an ugly daughter like me. And ever since then, she never treated me like her own, always punishing me for something I never had any control over. It's really hard to ask me to thank Mom and Dad for a life like that, when it wasn't at all what I asked for.
There was no helping all of that, though. You're to blame for all of it. Mom was praying for a little boy, but ended up with a girl like you. And even though her first daughter was so beautiful, she ended up having a disgusting-looking younger daughter. Do you have any idea how much you disappointed Mom by being born like that? But she had no other choice but to feed and raise you, having already given birth to you. You need to show your appreciation for all of that now.
I suppose she did pay for a lot of the food I needed in order to stay alive under her care. But I was also forced to do all of the chores that you never ever did. And when Mom was in a bad mood, even if I did everything I was asked to do, she'd still beat me anyway. I was then forced to hide all of the bruises on my body and hope that nobody saw them when I was at school. That was all more than enough to pay her back for the food, right?
What are you talking about? What have you been thinking about while working out in the fields? I don't ever remember you saying anything about those kinds of things before because you were so much weaker, right? You are far too ugly to be talking like you know better than us, so how about you cut that talk out right now?
I get it. I'm ugly. But even if I am, I should still have basic human rights, right? I was beaten up all the time by the both of you, punching me and kicking me all day long. And from there, I'm now being forced to work on a farm for the rest of my life, while Mom expects to get money from me as she squeezes me dry. I'm not some sort of livestock, though.
Oh my god. I can't believe I just got to hear someone ugly telling me they're not some kind of livestock. That's something I wish I could have heard from you in person. You said all of that with a lot of force just then. Such a sad thing coming from someone so ugly, though.
You really have been like that all this time, Madeline. And even now, you're going to pick on and pester me like I'm less than human. Sure, you were born all pretty and everything. And sure, Mom and Dad loved putting all of their money into you over me. All while you had to sit there and harass me with the both of them telling you it was okay to. But you still weren't full of all that yet, and have come back at me again to make even more fun of my looks? What don't you have in your life that you want so badly from me?
What? I never said that I'm missing out on something you have. Things have just become a lot more quiet here at home ever since you were sold off like that. And so while I have this free time, I thought it would be fun to just pick on you a little. And also, I don't have a ton of money right now, so I've been thinking of ways to get more recently. All of the other girls around me have these really high-end bags now. Makes me so jealous seeing them all happy, while my bag is getting older and older as the days go by.
I can't believe you have the ability to say all of that without even feeling a little bit ashamed. I guess you and I really did grow up in completely different worlds from one another, even though we had the same parents and lived under the same roof.
Hilarious. Talking about how you and I have been living in totally different worlds. I never realized that you noticed all of that. While I was going to school and have always been this super popular girl, you became this outlier who nobody ever wanted to become friends with, right? And even though you had no friends, you never were able to study much either. And that's why everyone assumed there really was no future for you at all. Especially Mom and I.
That's because I never had time to study anything. The moment I'd get home from school, I'd be forced to start doing all of the chores. And then when Mom would come home, she'd make me do even more work for her. And by the time I had finished all that crap, there was no time left for me to do homework and study.
And when you started to realize that it sucked for you to be home, you stopped coming back after school. Then that led to Mom really getting pissed off at you and teaching you a lesson, right? And then she forced you to stay awake all night until you did finish your chores and her work.
At first, I thought you never realized any of that going on between her and I. But you did know everything about it, yet still never said a thing.
Because why would I say anything against something I actually enjoyed watching all the time? And remember that things like cleaning and doing other work is your job as an ugly woman, right? I knew very well that what you were going through had nothing to do with me.
I see. And I've had some time to really think about everything now. And me being able to leave that house was the best thing ever. So, could you stop talking to me forever now?
You don't have to tell me that twice, because I don't want anything else to do with your disgusting ass now. This is me cutting ties to you now, by the way. There's no reason for me to stay in contact with a little sister who won't even send us her money. So don't you ever come around us ever again, please.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Sarah, I hear that you've become one of the top performing farmers in the country. I got a message about that from your boss the other day. How amazing is that? I am very proud of you and what you've accomplished there.
What? Who is this?
What are you saying right now? This is me, your own mother. It's been such a long time since we last talked, right, Sarah? I'm so happy to see that you're doing so well out there on that farm still. I guess I really did a great job of raising you then, and you did a very good job yourself working out there like no other.
My mother? I'm sorry, but my mother is the boss's wife, and she told me she only ever calls when she wants to talk. She's been the one who has raised me the most after all these years and helped make me into not only a good farmer, but a great woman as well. Because of her ability to not only be strict, but also understanding of me, I was able to become a very successful farmer and one of the best in the US. That is all because of her and her husband, who I call my father now as well.
What are you going on about right now? Your real mother, the one who went through all of that pain, carrying you around in her belly and giving birth to you, was me. To think that somewhere like a farm would be the place where you'd finally be able to shine and become someone outstanding. Back in the day, I never expected such things from you.
None of that has anything to do with me being talented or anything like that. I was just taught by my mom and dad how to perform at my best when going out to do work, and that's what got me to where I am today. And even if some of this were due to talent, that talent was obtained from none other than my boss and his wife. They were the ones who watched over me for the past 15 years and helped me hone my skills. And I was always told not to ever give up, no matter what. Had it never been for what they'd done for me, I wouldn't be sitting in the position I am now.
Oh my goodness, I really did have the wrong idea of you. To think you've even become so confident now that you can say such things as that about yourself. Now, you are much more successful than back in the day and are someone I can surely brag about, almost like you've become me in a way.
I have quite literally no idea what you're talking about right now. I'll say this one last time for you. My mother is not you, but rather the farmer's wife who has raised me for 15 years now. I'm not sure what all you may have heard about her from me, or about me myself, but I have nothing to do with you now and never will again.
I don't ever remember raising a child that would ever say such heartless things like that to me. I think the way you're acting right now is not okay whatsoever. Are you telling me that you have no appreciation towards your real parents anymore?
Would you please cut it out with that BS right now for me? Whatever happened to people being a little bit modest? Because people like them would never ask others what happened to the appreciation they should have for one another. All you should be saying is that you are happy to see me in good health and nothing more. Thank you for checking up on me. Now, I have a lot going on as a successful farmer, so I must get going now.
Why are you being so distant with me right now? I am your actual mother of all people, and it should be all because of me that you have become such a wonderful woman now, right? Therefore, it doesn't have to be much, but could you please send me some money?
Wow. I kind of figured that's what all of this was going to be about. I knew that you would never get in touch with me again, unless there was going to be something in it for you. Allow me to be very upfront with you on this. No. You said it yourself long ago that you were cutting ties to me forever, which means that you are in no place at all now to be asking me for some of my money.
Don't say such things as that to me. I have finally come around to realizing a lot of things, all right? I should have been treating you the best all that time instead of your older sister. I really do regret never giving you the chance to shine at all back then, all because I found you a bit too ugly for my taste.
What kind of bullshit is all of that right there? For someone that physically and verbally abused me for years and years, the only reason you'd be saying things like that about me now is because something ended up happening to your beautiful little Madeline, right? I know what's going on here, and I will not be fooled by you.
For someone in your position, you shouldn't be speaking to me like that, right? But look, I am very surprised by what I've seen. My cute little girl being so absorbed into a male whore like that. And now she's left us with nothing but debt because of the amount she spent on him. She left us all in debt and ran off somewhere to disappear with that man. Even if I tried going out to look for her, I never would be able to track her down.
Oh, is that right? How about you start asking around, and I'm sure someone will be able to give you some leads. Just say that your daughter was kidnapped by a male prostitute, and I'm sure you'll be able to find them. But you asking me to help you with all of that isn't going to get you anywhere.
There is no way you should be taking all of this as though you have nothing to do with it. You are family to us and the only person I can count on for help. You're one of the most successful farmers in the US, right? That must mean you have all sorts of money that you have no clue what to do with.
And even if I did have that kind of money on me, it wouldn't be meant for someone like you. And I sure wouldn't be wasting any of it paying off the debts of some dumbass woman who used to use me as her punching bag back in the day. Remember? She is the one you went and raised her whole entire life. So that makes her current actions your responsibility, right? You were the one that should have taught her about things like ethics and how to handle money, but you never did. Therefore, you're not going to have to deal with the outcomes of your mistakes, not me. I, just like you guys, have cut ties to you all, which means none of your family problems have anything to do with me.
Please don't say things like that to me. You have a lot of money, right? Enough to at least help your parents get out of this mess. So please, use some of that to save us now, so that we can appreciate you for what you've done afterwards. I'm going to be destroyed by this debt if nobody comes to help us, okay?
Then how about you get crushed by that debt and learn the mistakes of all your actions? That's kind of the point of things like crippling debt. It's meant to teach those who have been far too irresponsible a lesson on life. And it is not something you should be looking to others to help you with. Not at all. With that all happening due to your lack of good parenting in the past, you need to accept the outcome and stop trying to fight it.
But I wasn't the one who got into all of this debt.
But you're the one who spoiled the girl too much and led her down the path of getting into debt like that, right? That's the kind of thing that happens when you don't do your job as a parent correctly. You should have taught her about how getting into debt is a bad thing, and if you do have to pay it all off as soon as you can before spending more. But you never taught Madeline how hard it is to pay off things like debt, nor did you tell her how to take care of herself properly. So all she was able to take away from her childhood was that anytime she got into financial trouble, you or Dad would be there to take care of it for her.
Even if you say that to me, look, I didn't think things would end up like this.
And now that she's gone and really gotten into some debt, you will have to deal with it for her. The only kinds of families I'll be willing to send my money to are those who are really in bad situations. Like those where both the parents have done all they can to fight back their debt, but outside conditions continue to hold them back. Or they've been met by some kind of natural disaster and have no money to rebound from the effects. Those are the families I really want to help out with my money. But when it comes to a family like yours, where you only ever think about yourself and your pretty daughter, and spoil her to the point she doesn't even understand debt, setting you on the path towards self-destruction, I have no money that will go towards saving you at all.
Please do not say that about us. Please, Sarah, I'm in a lot of trouble now. I will apologize to you for everything I've done in the past.
If you really are in need of some help, then cry out to the world asking for it, instead of trying to beg your victims for their hard-earned money. I have cut ties to you all now, so don't even try getting back in touch with me after this. To be honest, greedy and self-centered people like you are best getting a taste of what hell is like now, so that you may prepare for your future. You never are going to get my help, so please, shut the hell up about it. After all of that conversation was ended, I went ahead and blocked her number and made sure to delete her contact information from my phone. And since then, I have no clue about what really ended up happening to her or her husband. And when it comes to my sister, Madeline, well, let's just say that she's a completely different story. I hadn't actually blocked her since the last time we talked, and so after 15 years, she was texting me again about wanting to know where I was living so that she could bring her fiancé along and introduce him to me. However, having already spoken with my mom and knowing that she wasn't actually going to get married to him, after they ran from everyone and were trying to hide from their debt, I told my sister what I really knew was going on, and she never sent me another message again. And just like that, I think that Madeline lost the chance she thought she had at finding somewhere safe to hide and live, and will be on the road forever. As for what my boss and his wife did, in order to get the last laugh in all of this, they went ahead and sent her one last message thanking her for sending them her daughter. Of course, this really upset her because she knew that she was being picked on by someone else for once, and exploded sending them these massive texts about how she wanted me back and all of that. But instead of sending her a reply, they just blocked her. As for myself, just knowing that both my mom and my sister would be going through even more hell now after all they'd done to myself and each other, I felt really good, like a ton of weight had been lifted off me. Now, I'm going to head back to the life I've been living for the past 15 years, of helping out my boss and everyone by making this new plantation he helped me buy even more profitable than it had already been. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. And we look forward to seeing you with the next story.